Hi, this is Ron Darling.
This is Skip Lockwood.
Hi, I'm Ron Swoboda of the 69 New York Mets, and you're listening to MetsMusings with Gary Mack.
Now it's time for some New York Mets baseball talk. Here's Gary Mack bringing you the latest news and analysis from Mets Nation and the world of baseball on another edition of MetsMusings.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of MetsMusings. Hope everybody had a great week out there. Well, the Mets are off to a good start after the so-called second half of the season, after the All-Star break. 4-2, didn't get off great. They lost the first two coming out of the break to Cincinnati at home. Same issue, running in scoring position, couldn't get that big hit. Reds took the game one with a lot of home runs, and the Mets bullpen failed. Same thing in game two, similar tactics, if you will, for the Mets. They salvaged game three with some clutch base running and some late game heroics to salvage the finale, and they haven't looked back. Los Angeles Angels came into town, and they brought out the brooms and swept right through them, playing much better baseball and getting that all-important big hit. They made up a 4-run deficit. They were down 4-0 early in game one against the Angels, and made it up and took a thrilling win. Brett Baty ignited the rally with a solo homer in the fourth, and later scored the go-ahead run. Juan Soto delivered a clutch 2-run single in the seventh to seal the comeback. Brooks Raley, coming back from Tommy John surgery, looked terrific, got his first win, and that was game one. Going into game two, Mets were down again, 2-0 going into the fifth inning, but they responded with a 3-run inning. Francisco Alvarez just returned from Syracuse, smashed a tying homer, first at Citi Field this year, hard to believe. And he got go-ahead singles by Brandon Nimmo, and that was all she wrote as the Mets took that game 3-2 against the Angels, the middle game of the 3-game set. Frankie Montas looked good. He went 5 2/3 innings, and Ryan Stanek came in to close it out at the end by getting Mike Trout to for the final out. So bullpen looked good there, starting to come back a little. Frankie Montas, who recently came back to the Mets, pitching pretty good ball. And that's good to see for the starters that have been beleaguered through the month of June and into July. So now we're slowly getting some of the soldiers back. The cavalry is showing up. Slowly, Frankie is slowly building up his arm strength even more. And the guy that pitched yesterday, and I happened to be at that game, Sean Manaea, came back. Now, there's still some issues with Manaea. He's got some loose elbow chips, and they're a little concerned about him. But he pitched 5 solid innings. Looked good. He gave up only 1 run, a home run to Mike Trout, and otherwise was pretty solid in the 5 innings. So fingers crossed, maybe he can keep on his way. And as I said, they completed the sweep against the Angels yesterday. Sean Manaea pitched well. Pete Alonso was in a huge slump. He hit a 3-run homer and later on a single to right center, so hopefully he's going to come out of it. And the big man to come out of it as well, hopefully, is Francisco Lindor. He broke out of an 0-for-31 drought with 2 RBI singles. So it would be super if Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso both come out of their slump, and if Brett Baty continues to be red hot as he has been. He's hit something like 306 since July 4th, which is pretty good. And he's had a better OPS since Decoration Day or Memorial Day than Alonso and Lindor. So Brett Baty has turned a corner, been playing good, playing excellent defense, both at second and third, I might add. So he's been flipping back and forth. Ronnie Mauricio getting some key hits. He's still got a ways to go, and it was just Tuesday night. It was the bottom of the lineup, Baty and Mauricio and Alvarez down there, and then Nimmo at the top of the lineup. He's back leading off. That really got this team fired up and got them going and got the key hits in that game. And then, of course, yesterday it was pretty much throughout the lineup. Nimmo hit a home run. Baty got, I think, 1 or 2 hits. And as we said, Lindor and Alonso, hopefully, please, God, coming out of their slumps. If they come out of those slumps, this lineup's going to be very tough to beat. Very tough to get out. And that brings us to our next topic. Trade talks. The Mets are in trade talk mode now with the trade deadline a mere week away. They continue to look at different options. They were considering it one time, and they still may consider it. But they were considering options for third base, center field, and, of course, starting pitching and bullpen pitching. They'd like to get another bat in here. And, Eugenio Suarez name keeps coming up, third baseman for the D-backs. I don't know if between Mauricio and Baty, they're getting, and even Vientos played a nice third yesterday, got another hit, so he's starting to warm up as well. But with those guys returning and emerging, and the return of Francisco Alvarez, who seems to have been rejuvenated and got his head on straight and got some things done that they want him to get done down in Syracuse, working better. Really, center field looks like the spot they might want to build up. But as one guy, as David Stern said in an interview, there doesn't seem to be anybody better out there than perhaps Jeff McNeil. I mean, if Jeff McNeil is playing pretty good center field, you're either going to get another center fielder that's a terrific fielder like Tyrone Taylor, who you have, but isn't hitting well. And all of the guys on the block that they're talking about, Cedric Mullins of Baltimore, Luis Roberts of the White Sox, and I can't think of the other guy that they were talking about, but they're not hitting that well. So if your option is to trade for somebody that's only going to give you another glove, and you can play Jeff McNeil, who's been playing a solid. Is he spectacular? No. But he's solid. He gets to everything. He feels everything. He makes a couple of great catches once in a while. And you may as well just hold on to your prospects and keep him out there. If you're not going to get anybody that you think is going to be better or worth replacing Jeff McNeil out there with, leave McNeil in center. You bring in Tyrone Taylor at the end of the game for defense purposes, because he's a terrific center fielder. And you give him the occasional start against lefties and see what happens and go there. They've been winning that way. And as I said, McNeil's playing a good second base. Between Baty and Acuna, they can hold down second base. Between Mauricio, Vientos, and Baty, they can hold down third base. And, Vientos may start hitting. He could claim third base. Baty could claim second base. If he keeps hitting, they'll be set. So I'm not so sure that that's where they want to go for a bat. Now, do they need another bat? Sure, it would be nice. But it's only be necessary because guys aren't hitting. And now with the return of Starling Marte, he got a couple of hits yesterday in the game. The DH position looks pretty good, and Jesse Winker should be back in a couple of weeks, so that'll fortify the DH position. Don't forget, they haven't gotten a lot of this team that they had planned to have in spring training, that they planned to have for the whole season. They haven't gotten them even on the field yet due to injuries and whatnot. So, the real keys, I think, that they're going to be looking for from now until the 31st is going to be starting pitching and bullpen help. And whether or not they should, at least I hope they won't, give up the ship, give up, the top prospects to get a rental player. Please don't do that again. They've done it, Pete Grow Armstrong. I talked about this last week. I spoke about it. Got him for Javi Baez. Didn't sign Baez. He walked and they got nothing. And now Pete Crow Armstrong is a star, an all-star. Please don't do that again. Don't trade a Carson Banger or Jet Williams to get some pitcher that's going to be walking. If you're going to make that kind of trade, then make sure you before you solidify it, that you get a week's timetable to sign this guy to a contract, if you want to, even. Because we just, don't do it again. Give one of the younger guys a shot. Call up Tidwell again. Put him in long relief or in the rotation. A lot of MLB teams bring up promising rookies, stick them in a bullpen, and let them get their taste of the major leagues that way. And the Mets don't seem to do that at all. And maybe they should do more of that. Look, a lot of these guys in the minor leagues have pitched out of the bullpen, especially at the lower minor leagues, because like Brooklyn has a lot of guys there, so they'll use a starter, he'll go 3 innings, and they'll bring in maybe another starter. So they've got to have a little bit of a feel. I know it's a different mentality being in a bullpen, and they are viewing it as a start anyway, but perhaps they should try something like that. Maybe that should be the 6th starter. Pick 2 guys. Maybe bring up Tidwell and McLean, and they can together be your 6th starter, and then be pushed in there in other games if you needed them out of the bullpen. Maybe they should consider something like that, because they want to get Senga. They like to start him. Give him that extra day. And also with the Clay Holmes situation, he's pitched more innings than he's ever pitched before because he came up as a starter, yes, but transitioned to a relief pitcher for the last, 8 years or something. And now he's back to starting again. So, but they have said that they are happy about his rests between starts, and how he's bounced back. So that's a good thing as well. But they'll all be keeping an eye on that. But needless to say, they've been speaking to the San Diego Padres about a Dylan Cease. They've spoken to the Pirates about Mitch Keller, and but these are all reportedly. And the D-backs they've spoke to about Zach Gallen, maybe Merrill Kelly. As I said, maybe even Eugenio Suarez at third base. And they're also shopping for relief pitching. So they're these are the reports we get. They're probably talking to all 30 teams. As everybody is, everybody's always looking for pitching. All the time. You never can have enough. The Mets do have the luxury of having some good pitchers ready at the minor league level. But they haven't had a taste yet. So do you want to bring them in a pennant race? That's a tough decision. I think it's a good thing because then at least they get a taste of playoff baseball. They get a taste of the pressure involved in that environment. And then when they're ready to come full time to the team, they've had that experience, and it's not anything odd to them. So, but that's my feelings on that. Mets end their first week back 4-2. They're flying out to the coast now to play the San Francisco Giants for 3, and then San Diego for 3 before they come home on the trade deadline. So maybe something happens while they're out on the coast. If they're talking to the Padres, who knows? Maybe they make a deal with the Padres and fly home with a new pitcher. Who knows? Or a new third baseman or whatever. We don't know. But we shall see by next week. Now, they did make a number of roster moves on Tuesday. And as I said, Starling Marte returned. Francisco Alvarez returned. Jarrett Young was optioned to AAA Syracuse. There's so many things with relief pitches. I'm not even going to go through them. If you watch the games, they try to keep you up to date with it all because guys are coming and going like a revolving door. So Chris Stavinsky was designated for assignment after pitching pretty decently. If nobody takes him, they'll probably pick him up again. They'll re-sign him, and but it's so much to mention. I don't want to bore you with all the details. Just if you go to a game, get a scorecard so you can find out. If not, just listen to Gary, Keith, and Ron early in the game so they can tell you who's still here and who's not here. We know who the key players are. The key players will return here and stay here. So let's keep our mind on that for now. All right, now it's time for the injury update. And on this week, it's pretty much the same as last week. The only changes is that Dedniel Nunez has undergone the second Tommy John surgery of his career. He'll miss the rest of this year, naturally, and most of next season as well. Though, look, Brooks made it back by August, so maybe he can make it back. He's a little later, though, having the surgery, so they like to wait 14 months. So he may miss the entire year next year, but we'll see what happens there. Max Kranick, he's due to undergo surgery in the end of July here. Though it's not yet certain if that will be a flexor repair operation or a Tommy John procedure. Either way, his season is over. Hopefully, maybe whatever's easier for him to come back from and quicker, that will be the operation he gets. But two key arms that the Mets were counting on this year and pitched pretty well when they were here. Nunez, if you remember, got off to a slow start. He came back after suffering an injury in spring and came and he was up and down. He was down to the minus for a while, and then he came back up. He looked good his second time up here until this injury occurred. Max Kranick was very good in the spring, made the squad, looked good the early part of the season, then had some flubs, and then all of a sudden he got injured. So maybe that's why he struggled those few times before going on a disabled list. So those two are gone now, along with A.J. Minsky and Danny Young. Two guys that the Mets had counted on greatly, and of course Griffin Canning with that freak Achilles injury. I mean, this team is loaded if people were healthy, but unfortunately all these injuries really hurt them this year. And yet they're still in first place by a half a game as we record this against the Phillies. So you go figure. They've had some depth. They've been able to pull some rabbits out of their hat and do a magnificent job. Also, back to the injury update. Jesse Winker, who's been out since July 11th on the IL. He has the lower back inflammation. They expect him back sometime in August. He received an epidural July 18th due to continued discomfort, and that was after 8 days. He'll rest for another 7 to 10 days before potentially restarting baseball activity. So he could start as quickly as tomorrow or wait a few more days and see and start baseball activities and see how that back bounces back, so to speak. Paul Blackburn, right-handed pitcher, he returned to the IL with a shoulder impingement on July the 3rd. He made his second rehab start this past week, his first with Syracuse, and he looked very good. He looked sharp over 72 pitches. So he threw 72 pitches. Pretty good. First start back with Syracuse, so we could be getting him back at the major league level too. So that would be another boost. And Tyler McGill still not starting a rehab thing, but he could come back as well sometime towards August or September. And the arms will be coming back. So, and we'll see if they make a trade. All right. All right. So let's take a quick break here and come back right after this.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for interesting baseball talk, opinions, and history.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for barbecue recipes, tips, and interviews from the world of barbecue. If you like baseball and if you like barbecue, then tune in to Baseball and BBQ. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and BaseballTalkRadio.com.
And now it's time to go down on the farm. All right, time to go down on the farm when we look at the minor leagues and some of the top prospects of the New York Mets. And let's see, this week, Brendan Gurton of the Brooklyn Cyclones was the star of the Mets system, as he pitched 4 2/3 innings in his start, not allowing a single base runner. He struck out 9 batters. He's been phenomenal this season, especially in his last 6 games, where he has a 1.14 ERA. On the season, he owns a 2.49 ERA in 17 games for the Cyclones. So, Brandon Gurton, a guy to watch for the Cyclones. And another pitcher at minor league level, Brendan Sproat, looked extremely sharp in his last start against Norfolk. He tossed 5 scoreless innings with 9 strikeouts. He allowed just 1 hit and 1 walk, looking good. Drew Gilbert continued a strong month of July by putting together his first 4-hit showing of his professional career. In Double-A Binghamton, Ryan Clifford extended his league lead with 2 more homers, and Carson Baines lifted his 3rd blast since being promoted to the new level. That's what they did this past week. Now, Benj has been arguably the best position player prospect in the Mets system, and he raised his Double-A OPS to 1.005, and he was doing great at Brooklyn as well. And that's a guy that I think, personally, he's got star potential written all over him. Watch out for this guy. He remind me of Michael Conforto, but a better all-around player. And as everybody knows, I loved Conforto. Conforto was a terrific player, I thought. I don't know what happened to him. Benj reminded me of him with his hitting style, and he was using all fields and power. I think he's a better defensive player than Conforto was. Conforto was a terrific defensive player, don't get me wrong. He came with a reputation of being a weak defensive player, but he proved everybody wrong. He was a decent outfielder, but Benj is even more. And Benj can play all 3 outfield positions, which is another thing that's been. So, look, they have some prospects for center field that, eventually going to take over, whether it be next year or in 2 years. Jet Williams is one that they've been playing a lot in center field. He could move in. Even Drew Gilbert, he's hitting now. He's not a power hitter. He's more of a Lenny Dykstra type of player, I would say. But he's hitting. Ryan Clifford, a big hitting, home run hitting first baseman type, more of an Alonso type. But they've got some good players that they can fall back on. And, of course, I know we're still at Double-A with a Ryan Clifford and the Carson Baines. But, like I said, Baines did it all year with Brooklyn, got promoted. Started off a little slow, but now he's hitting it like a torrid. So I think this kid's got it. I think he really is the real deal. Jacob Brame, another guy that you have to, more of a understated guy. But he's been tearing it up all year with Brooklyn, and now he's tearing it up in Binghamton. And these guys have just done well. Both Baines and Rame have done well in Double-A. And he's got an OPS with Binghamton of 840. So, another guy to look for. And he's sort of a utility guy, a first and third guy. Played a lot of first and third with Brooklyn and now with Binghamton. So, another guy that they could consider to trade maybe, or will keep in mind to bring up to the majors in the next few years. Jonah Tong went 5 1/3 scoreless innings with 7 strikeouts. This guy's just amazing. He's got to be on everybody. You don't want to trade this guy unless you're getting, oh my goodness, I don't even know at this point who you would want to trade for. Mike Trout in his prime, maybe, but this guy has been unbelievable so far, and he's 21 years old. He's got a 1.71 ERA through 16 starts on the year. At Binghamton, he has just been dominating. So get him up to Syracuse. Let's see what he can do. Jack Weninger, another guy having a good year, and had a terrific start. His last start, he allowed 2 runs. 1 was earned in 4 2/3 innings with 2 strikeouts. Through 18 starts, Weninger owns a 2.96 ERA. So, E.J. Ewing is having a terrific year at St. Lucie, and now Brooklyn. He continued it. He's a speedster. He's a base stealer. He's a get on base type of guy. Another guy to watch. And in the domestic summer league, Dominican summer league, Elian Pena. This guy has been fantastic. Since he came up, since he signed at them, I think he's 17. And this past week, he had a great week for the Mets squad in the Dominican Summer League, going 6 for 15 with 2 doubles, 4 walks, 3 stolen bases, 2 RBIs, and 3 runs scored. So his first professional season, Elian Pena is a guy, and we're going to keep an eye on him because he has been spectacular in that Dominican League. And the Mets signed their 18th round selection, right-handed pitcher Dylan Stiltner. And that means that they've successfully signed 18 out of their 19 draft picks. That's terrific. They've just rejuvenated and put more guys into the system, and hopefully there'll be a star in those 18 picks, or they'll get the 19th pick signed, sealed, and delivered and into the Mets system. Okay, so let's take a look at the standings now. Syracuse is at 17-6. I got them written down here. They are 1 game behind in second place in their division in the second half of the season. Binghamton is 15-8. They're in first place in their division, so keep up the good work, Binghamton, as well as Syracuse. Brooklyn struggling a little bit in the second half, 12-14, 7 games back in third place. They are in the playoffs, however, because they did win the first half championship. St. Lucie 16-9 in first place. They've got a 2.5 game lead there in the Florida State League. And the Florida Complex League Mets are 25-28, and they are 12 games back in third place. Now, the Dominican League gets a little complicated there. Apparently, the Mets have 2 teams, an orange and a blue team, and the orange team is doing a little bit better than the blue team. We'll have more on them maybe next week or so, but that's all of the minor league report and how they are faring. Now let's take a look at what's coming up for the Mets. They're flying out to the coast. 3 games with the Giants, 3 games with the Padres. The Giants, pretty good pitching. Their staff is headlined by Logan Webb, with veteran Robbie Ray in there, providing high-end innings when healthy. They just made a big blockbuster trade, getting Rafael Devers, who was, I think, on the IL now, but we'll find out more about that. Also on their pitching staff is Justin Verlander, who just won his first game of the year. The Mets won't see him. They don't believe they will. If at all, it may be Sunday they would see him. But anyway, he just won his first game of the year. Could you believe it? July. So that's the their bullpen is so, and they are also looking for bullpen help, especially from the left side. Mets can't help them there, really. So let's see. They've got a terrific catcher in Patrick Bailey, Gold Glove winner last year, and he's very good defensively, starting to hit a little bit as well, so keep an eye on him. Casey Schmidt, another guy, utility guy, terrific defensively. Made history in June by hitting back-to-back grand slams against the Dodgers. The first time that's been done for a Giant ever. So all of those great guys that they've had playing in their history, Mays, McCovey, and the whole bunch of them there. That's first time that's happened. So let's take a look at the probable pitches subject to change. This is what we've got so far. Clay Holmes is going to open up the series for the Mets. He's 8-5. He's going to go against Logan Webb, who is 9-7 for the Giants. That should be a pretty good matchup. They're pretty evenly matched there. David Peterson will go Saturday. He's 6-4 against Robbie Ray, who is 9-4 for the Giants. And again, they're pretty well matched up. Kodai Senga is scheduled to go Sunday against a unknown pitcher for the Giants. They have not named a pitcher yet. It is Thursday, so there is a possibility they could name one tomorrow or Saturday or whatever. But that is the probable pitches that we have, as I say, subject to change. So go check it out and see what occurs with that. And that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it. Nothing else to report on. Got out of yesterday's game injury-free, thank goodness. One scare yesterday, Chris Taylor got hit in the head from an Edwin Diaz pitch, but bounced back and seemed to be okay, so good news there. There is some sad news in the world in general, and that is wrestling icon Hulk Hogan passed away today at the very young age of 71. Anybody that followed wrestling in the 80s knows that it was quite a phenomenon, and very sad to see another one of the guys that watched and admired and enjoyed and were entertained by passing away. So just wanted to get that in there. It's not baseball related, not Mets related at all, but Hulk Hogan passed away at the age of 71. Now that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you'll come back next week. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like or the subscribe button. It helps us with the show. It helps us know what direction we're going into, whether it's good or bad or indifferent. Same thing, leave a comment and let us know yourself how I'm doing. Is there something else you'd like to see or hear? Is there something you don't care about at all, that I should get rid of? We'll consider everything. So, but you got to hit those buttons. And if you listen on Spotify to the audio version, hit a like or follow me. Whatever you have to do. We're on all of the major podcast apps if you just want to listen to the show. So please check it out, and anything you can do to help promote the show will be greatly appreciated. This is episode 590. I've been doing this a long time. It's going on 15 years. And we're closing in on 600 episodes. So sometime in September, I think, will be our 600th episode. It's a long time. So I hope you've been enjoying it as much as I've enjoyed doing it. So until next time, remember to keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go Mets. I'm Gary Mack, and I'll see you next time on another edition of MetsMusings.